Hello friends, I had been making videos where I have forwarded a lot of textual data to the database. But what I didn't show is how can I upload a text along with that particularly image file to the database so that later on I can even view the image associated to a particular record. So keeping that in mind, this particular video I would like to show you that where I can forward both text as well as file together into the database, that is Postgres. So you can see over here I have got input type text, and over here I have a DOM element which is of type file upload. Let me take you to my Postgres. Here I have got a table by the name called category, and this table has got three attributes that is coming from my model. So let me open my model over here. Before that, let me tell you one more thing. Since I'm going to upload images, and for that reason you have to do a little bit of configuration, and you need a media folder. I've created one folder over here, and the initial configurations that are required in settings.py as well as urls.py, you need to do all those things. So inside my media I created one folder called category, and within that I have a folder called pictures. Why I did this category? Because I have got good number of apps, and all those apps will be having images respectively. So next time if I have to upload an image related to a book, inside the media I will create one more folder called book. Okay, let me show you that. So I select the media, and over here I create a new folder called books. So in this book folder I will be uploading some images that are related to books. So if you do it in this way, then it will be much easier for you to identify that which image belongs to where. See, right now inside the media folder I have got two folders, book and category, and neither of them has got any images. So I would like to upload the image in the folder called category. Over here I want to upload. Okay, that's good. So this is a small thing which you need to do it prior you start the file upload process. Now let's come to the app, and here is my category app. This is where I want to work on. So let me show you the urls.py, and in the urls.py I want to reach this particular route, and currently I'm working on function based view. So let me open this particular function, and here it comes. So this is the portion that will be responsible for storing both data as well as files. Let me show you in my model also. In the model I have got two attributes, name and images, and let me show you the Postgres again. By default you will be getting the ID, which is the primary key. Apart from that you have got name and image as the other two attributes. And if you notice over here, this particular attribute is of type image field. Now Postgres will provide you two different type of field, like you can also go for file field. That means suppose you are talking about a general file, that also you can mention, but this time I'm working on the image. So for that reason I mentioned over here image field, and here see I've mentioned the path where exactly it will be getting stored according to the media folder which I created. So over here category is there. Inside the category there is a folder called pictures. Within that this particular image is going to be highlighted, or I mean uploaded. Okay, so all that's good enough, and what I'm left to show you is my template. So let me even show the template. So let's come to the category, and here I've got add category.html, and as you know that right from the very beginning I'm working on Django with that of jQuery, so I need to also open the JavaScript jQuery, and here it comes. Okay, so let's see the template first, and we are using the Jinja template tag. So over here inheritance has been done. In my form I have got two DOM elements there. This is my HTML input type text where I will be providing my category name. Apart from that I also have got one more DOM, that is the input type file, which will provide me the file upload. And here I have got the button, so clicking on this particular button would give a call to my AJAX. So let me take you to the AJAX. Now what the most fascinating part of the story is that we have already seen how to upload just textual data, but now you have a scenario where you want to upload textual data plus a file. How would you forward this? And that brings us to something called FormData. So FormData is going to be like a bucket. Within the bucket you have got key, you have got value. So this bucket will be forwarded from the front end to the back end. So whenever you are uploading file along with data, the best way would be to go for FormData. So here I initialize an object of FormData, and the FormData has a function called append, where you're going to mention the key. So I have a category name, and we just now saw this category information will come from here. So that's my jQuery way of retrieving data from the DOM. And the second one is my input type file. Right now I'm uploading only single file, but you can also upload a multiple file by mentioning the attribute called multiple. But since I want to go for single, but this data type has a provision to upload multiple, so for that reason I have mentioned over. Okay, by the way, why did I mention 0? Because I can have multiple DOM element by the name called image. So specifying which particular DOM you are targeting, the very first DOM element whose name is image, whose ID is image, I'm targeting. That's the reason this 0 is there. And since data will be sent to the help of files, and files can contain multiple files, but I just want to refer to the very first file, so for that reason the index is 0. So that's how the attribute image got like we have assigned, or you have initialized the attribute image. And as we know that we are working with the CSRF token, so for that reason we have to forward CSRF token as well, so that the backend would later on, when the form gets submitted, the backend would verify that it is actually been, the template has been actually been served by the backend itself, because backend also will retain one copy of CSRF and it will just do the comparison, right? So after you have done that, now you are good to get into the AJAX. So this is the endpoint of the backend where you want to redirect. The method type is going to be the post, because I want to save the data in the model, and I've generated the bucket, which is my form data. So form data has been forwarded. Now a couple of more attributes you have to mention over here in context to form data. One is called process data and the content data. Both of these attributes should be false. The reason is, by default when you are using form data, the default behavior of form data is to pass the data in the form of a string format, in the form of a query string. But that exactly you don't want, because you don't want that the image should be converted to string type. That is not what intention. So you are saying that let the content type, let the image content type be as it is. Don't convert it to the string type. Leave it as it is. So for that reason content type will be false. The process type is that the way this particular file extension is, let that be exactly like that, because after the data goes to the backend I have to access the image as well. So I don't need to change the format, I don't need to change the content, I don't need any of these two things. So you always put these two prop keys as false, and then finally data will reach to the backend. Now once the data comes to the backend, your view need to handle it. So it will first pick up the data from the respective form. So over here I mentioned the name of the keys that I've mentioned. So one by one it will pick up, and it will be storing the respective variables. Now you know very well, when you will be typing this particular URL at the end, at the very beginning, at that point of time the HTTP post will not come in picture, rather HTTP get will come in picture, and because of that reason you saw the template in the browser, right? But after you fill up a form, let me fill up. Suppose I want to fill up the name as C over here, and I want to choose the image type as all will be JPG. So it's showing the JPG only. So I want to select the image as 1.jpg. So I selected 1 over here. Now when I will click on the save button, these two information is been placed within the bucket, and that is going to be forwarded to the backend. Now as I come to the view over here, so it need to extract the data. So it will extract the data from the first field, and it will extract the data from the property which is the image that has come from the form data, which is right over here. So that also will be extracted, right? And now what it will do is that initial validation I have done, and then it will go to the model and it will just insert the tuple record. So whatever name I have given, that name will be stored inside the attribute called name, as you can see right over here. Let me run the query once again and see over here. We don't have anything mentioned over here. Category, what happened? Okay, fine. I don't know what went wrong, but now it's all absolutely fine. Yeah, there is no information over here. See over here I have the attribute called name, so, and there is attribute called image. So under the name attribute the name will be stored, under the image attribute the image will be stored, and that's how the attribute table will store the respective tuple. And after the tuple gets stored, it will return the information, and it will get stored inside this particular return type reference that is called category. Now what I want is just I don't want to save the data in the model in the table, but at the same time I also want to show this information in the front end also, and for that reason what I have to do is that I have to generate the absolute path. Okay, this portion you will understand once I fire the code, then only it will become more relevant to you what I'm going to say following part. So let's do one thing. Let me first store the data, and as I click the data, and before that one more time let me check you to the media folder, and inside media we have category folder image. See, there's nothing inside. So now let's fire this option, and here it goes, and see the category got created successfully. I can see the image as a thumbnail, and not only that, even the complete path of that particular image file has been shown, so that if I click on this hyperlink, a new in the tab I will be able to see the complete image that I have uploaded. See, it is coming from the server localhost 1000. There's a folder called media. Within that category the entire path has been shown over here. So it's showing me the absolute path. This absolute path has been shown over here, right? So how is this happening? So for that reason, what I'm okay, by the way, what will get stored inside the table? So let me just run the query again and see over here, it's just showing the relative path. It's showing there is a folder called category inside my media, and now let me click on this. Now you see there is a file called 1.jpg. So there is a folder called category, and then that you have a folder called pictures, there where this thing is stored, and with the file name as 1.jpg, and the domain name is C language. So this it is storing, that means inside my attribute of the model it's storing the relative path, but when I have to render this image I need the absolute path. So for that reason in my view I have to generate the absolute path. Now with the help of request, because request means the data is coming from the front end, so which particular IP address the data is coming from, the request knows about it, and if request also know who is back end. So request will have a function called build absolute URL or URI, which will generate the URI. So once the record got stored inside the table, I will pick up that reference, and I have already got an attribute called image inside my Postgres. So from there I will write the URL property, and that's how the absolute URL gets generated, and that's what I'm going to pass in the form of an object to my front end. So this whole information is now going to be forwarded to whom? To my AJAX, because AJAX has given a call to the backend, right? Inside the success function, inside this response, this entire thing will be getting stored. This entire thing that we have made over here would be getting stored. Okay, I don't want to expand the success key, because I want that you give a try. In case if you are struck with this portion, definitely I'm going to help you out. You can write down in the comment section in case if you have some problem with this particular portion, that how exactly I'm able to manage to show the thumbnail plus I'm also showing the URL. Okay, so what you saw finally is that this data is coming to the front end AJAX, and AJAX is rendering the image in the form of a thumbnail, but this whole thing has been taken care by the backend, and this is where the concept is. So from the backend I'm sending the category ID, I'm sending the name, and also I'm sending the image URL that got generated. So as you can see over here, the image has been shown. The name, all those things I'm not showing, but I can show even those things as well, right? Okay, so we're almost done with this portion, but before I wrap up the thing, I'd like to tell you one more thing. I would like to run this particular code one more time, and for that reason I would stop my server. Let me clear the screen and let me run the command for the server to start with. Now this is something which I want to mention over here, and please listen to this part minutely. Right now I'm not executing python manage.py run server. In case I did that, the thing would have been much easier, but since I want to work with WebSocket, and for that reason I'm using Daphne. Now if you fire your command with the help of Daphne, your JavaScript or the static file will create some problem. Okay, and for that reason you need some solution. Then only your jQuery is going to work, your static JavaScript CSS will be working, otherwise Daphne cannot start your static files. When you are writing python manage.py run server has also a feature with the help of which it would start working with the static files, but Daphne, since its focus is on the WebSocket, so by default it will not be able to create the information about the static files, and as a result your JavaScript, jQuery, CSS, all these things will not work. So please keep it in mind that for Daphne to start with you have to do some extra configuration. Well, I hope you can understand That also I'm not saying. You try it from your side. In case if you get stuck, always I'm there to find the solution of this problem. Okay, so I have taken care about that measure, and because of that reason the thing is working. But before I wrap up, let me store one more image so that it would look good. So right now inside the media folder, how many file I've got? Just one file inside the picture category. So let's go this time for something called Java, and let's choose one more image, and this time let's go for image number 2, and these are all handwritten notes of mine. And then let me click on the save button. As I do that, even that image also got a thumbnail got generated, and here is the URL, and this shows the specific file name, that is file number 2. So if I click on the tab, this is my file number 2, this is my image. Oh, I'm working over here automata. Okay, so the previous tab was relating to also to about automata, and this is also another file of automata. Now let's come to my Postgres just to see whether this thing got reflected over here or not. Yes, see, the initial path remained the same, but the file name got changed. And finally let's come to my folder. Oh, over here the file 2 also got uploaded. Perfectly fine. This file 1 is file 2, both files got uploaded very nicely over here. So from this particular video presentation you saw a few important things that about the AJAX jQuery, this form data, which is going to help you a lot when you have got files as well as textual data to be forwarded. Without form data you will be having issue. And inside the template, remember one thing, when you are uploading the data over here, see over here, in spite of the fact that I did not use multi-part form data, still it's working. Usually you will find that in the form, when you're uploading files, you might have to use the multi-part attribute, but over here I didn't use that because I'm using the form data. So that problem also, like without this also there won't be any problem. And finally in the AJAX, the bucket been forwarded to the front end, and the front end receiving that picked up the property one by one. So there was a get method in context to post, there is a get method in context to files, and eventually I have passed the data to my model, and where I save the data, the relative path. But if you want to get the absolute path, that is also been provided very nice way. So that's all from this video presentation. Right now I have just worked with one single file, but sooner or later I will also work with the multiple file as well. And I also thought to make one video where I will be deleting files dynamically. So stay tuned with me. Hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.